fucking with my character, first and foremost, and like putting me in jail in front of my family. That's the part where I felt like it hurt the most. I haven't put my name with nothing but fraud, and I'm gonna keep it at that. I've never physically wrote a check, my name, from my bank account to anybody. Forget the casinos, to anybody. I've never done that.
Hang on, one more.
One more what? Handcuff?
Yep.
Where?
On the feet.
Come on, bro.
No, man.
Come on.
It's the new policy. That's why I'm explaining everything to you, okay?
Never said I had to put cuffs on my name. Wait above our head. I was just waiting above our head. It's in a criminal. We don't make decisions. Alright.
Marcus Morris just hit rock bottom after 13 long seasons in the NBA, and the fall looks ugly. The man who once raked in millions is now being whispered about like he's on the verge of bankruptcy, with casino debts piling sky high and the IRS supposedly breathing down his neck. This isn't just gossip floating around. Just a few weeks ago, Marcus was actually arrested at a Florida airport, dragged off in front of his own family. Wrists cuffed, ankles shackled, the whole scene.
Which one of you guys is Marcus? Marcus? You could just come over here. We don't want to make a scene or anything. We just need to. We're gonna have to take you into custody, okay?
And for what? A fraud charge tied to more than $265,000 in unpaid casino markers from 2 Las Vegas spots. Sure, the charges got dropped once he paid it off, but that public humiliation? That stain doesn't just wash away, because let's keep it real, when a former NBA star is moving like this, folks stop asking if he did it and start asking how broke he really is. And that's not even the half of it. Behind the casino chaos, people are now whispering about how much he really lost rolling dice in Vegas and why the IRS is suddenly floating around his name like a vulture.
Hang on, one more.
One more what? Handcuff?
Yep.
Where?
On the feet.
Come on, bro.
No, man.
Come on.
It's the new policy. That's why I'm explaining everything to you, okay?
Never said I had to put cuffs on my name. Wait above our head. I was just waiting above our head. It's in a criminal. We don't make decisions. Alright.
For a guy who once flashed chains, fast cars, and lived it up like Vegas royalty, this whole bankruptcy talk feels like the curtain finally getting pulled back on something much darker. And the wildest part? It all came crashing down at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport on July 27th. Regular travelers chilling at the gate, kids dragging backpacks, then suddenly deputies from Broward County walk straight up on Marcus and his family, putting an end to his flight before it even began. The body cam footage says it all, no sugarcoating. Cops walk right up, hit Marcus with news of an outstanding warrant, and before he can even catch his breath, they've got his wrists cuffed and sit him down in a wheelchair like he's not even a free man anymore. But the real shocker? They didn't stop there. Officers went ahead and wrapped shackles around his ankles, treating him like a full-on flight risk. You can see it in Marcus's face. Stunned, embarrassed, and almost frozen as the entire gate area just stares. That clip spread like wildfire online. Marcus Morris, an NBA vet, shackled down in front of his family while travelers pulled out phones to record the whole mess. And then the humiliation kept stacking. Cops grabbed his personal stuff, passed it over to his twin brother Markieff, and told him straight up that Marcus was headed to Broward County Jail with no bond. Imagine that. Markieff just standing there holding his brother's flashy chains while Marcus got rolled off in cuffs like some career criminal. For a man who balled out in the league for over a decade, this was beyond a bad look. It was devastating. So the whispers kicked in immediately. If Marcus Morris really still had millions, why was he being dragged through an airport like this over casino markers? Because one thing is clear, police don't just storm an airport and throw shackles on someone without a reason. This all traced back to 2 Vegas giants, the Wynn and the MGM Grand, claiming Marcus owed them a jaw-dropping $265,000.
Receive a marker from casinos if it's up to $1,200 and you don't pay it when you don't pay it whenever it says you're supposed to pay, even if it's a day late, they can't issue a warrant. Technically, nowhere else they could do that. Vegas can technically issue different rules a warrant for your arrest.
For anybody who doesn't know, a casino marker is basically a high-class IOU. Vegas gives you credit to play big, and you're supposed to pay it back clean. But in Marcus's case, his check bounced, and that's when the fraud charges smacked his name hard. There's even a clip of Marcus himself breaking it down, swearing it wasn't fraud, just him being late on the payment. Yeah, he eventually cleared the debt and the case got dropped, but the internet wasn't letting that slide. Because let's be real, If you're still sitting on millions, why are two casinos dragging you to court over a couple $100,000? Fans weren't buying it. They jumped online quick saying, that's not millionaire behavior, that's broke behavior. And Marcus didn't help himself, trying to brush it off like he's been gambling heavy for years without problems. But once that fraud tag got stamped on his name, it didn't matter what he said. The image was already locked in, a veteran NBA player moving like someone who's drowning in debt. That's when people started snooping deeper, asking what else might be hiding in the background if his casino mess looked this bad. And then came his time in Broward County Jail, 51 long hours, no bond, no food, no water. At least that's what Marcus claimed on Instagram. He vented online about being chained up 24 hours a day, blindsided, and treated like a straight-up criminal. He swore up and down he never ducked anyone, never tried to skip payment, and to him, it was just a late check. But to the outside world, it was way bigger. Because while Marcus sat behind bars in silence, the story was exploding everywhere. Fans online tore this whole mess apart like detectives on a mission. One person even joked, "I'm so broke, I didn't even know you could gamble at casinos without giving them money first." That's how wild Marcus's situation looked to regular folks. Others hit the obvious point. This man made serious money in his career, 9 figures in NBA contracts alone. Gambling is one of those black holes that swallows everything, and with how quick Vegas dragged him for 6 figures, it looked like Marcus had already fallen all the way in. And then people remembered, Marcus didn't even have a team last season. No checks hitting the bank, no guaranteed salary, nothing steady coming in. Fans did the math real quick, saying his absence from the 2024 to 2025 season roster was the key piece of the puzzle. What makes this sting even more? Marcus Morris wasn't some bench warmer hanging on by a thread. The man put in 13 full seasons in the league, and by the time it was over, reports say he racked up well over $90 million just from contracts, not even counting endorsements or side deals. So fans couldn't process it. How does a player who cashed that kind of bag end up locked over casino markers? To most people, Marcus should have been set for life. But here's the cold truth. Those NBA checks don't last forever. He didn't touch the court last season, and with no new contract lined up for 2025, that steady money stream dried up. And when you mix no income with a Vegas high roller lifestyle, suddenly that mountain of cash looks more like quicksand waiting to pull you under. This is exactly why people started whispering the big B word, bankruptcy. Not because Marcus came out and admitted it, but because the signs are screaming loud.
His brother.
If you want to just peek the window, I'm going to let him talk to him and tell him that I gave his brother everything. And so I gave your brother everything. I handed it to him one by one. He put it back in the envelope, most of it back in the envelope. I explained to him what the deal was. I said that yes, and while I was speaking to him, they did confirm everything. That you're going to be booked at Broward County Main Jail. That there is no bond right now, but they are going to extradite.
Let's be real. Marcus wasn't living like a man stacking for the future. He was all about those Vegas getaways, high-stakes tables, flashy rides, and chains heavy enough to break a neck. He even bragged about gambling at a high level for years like it was just part of his lifestyle. So when the casino drama finally caught up to him, nobody was shocked. He basically outed himself. Marcus clearly thought all the time and money he dropped in Vegas would earn him special treatment, but the casinos didn't care one bit. They only wanted their money back, and that arrest scene, it made the whole thing look 10 times worse. And here's what fans caught instantly. When cops scooped Marcus, it wasn't his baby mama holding his chains, it was his twin brother Marky F. People ran with that detail quick, saying if you're handing off your jewels to your brother instead of the mother of your kids, then something at home might not be right. Even the officers noted it, pointing out that Marcus himself told them to give his jewelry directly to his brother. And let's not sugarcoat it. If Uncle Sam decides you owe, there's no skipping out on that debt. This isn't just messy rumor talk either. We've all seen the pattern. Athletes with giant contracts and superstar lifestyles suddenly facing tax liens, losing homes, and watching everything disappear overnight. If the casinos already pulled back the curtain this far, just imagine what the IRS has stacked up in their files. Right now, it's only speculation, but that's exactly how scandals snowball. A man who once looked set for life suddenly moving like he's gasping for air. And trust me, the government loves catching people in that exact weak spot.
Like pocket change.
Tell us about the film.
Well, I wanted to come out and basically try to teach guys, not just necessarily athletes, but just people in general about having a lot of money. Sometimes different people come into wealth in different areas. So I wanted to share my story. Going through bankruptcy, I kind of got an opportunity to do that and see all the mistakes that I made. So I want to share those things, but also tell my story so people can see it as a learning example. I'm creating a foundation for finance literacy. I have a book coming out at the beginning of the year.
But here's the truth. Marcus Morris isn't the first baller to go from millionaire to money mess, and sadly, he won't be the last. The script is old, but every time it plays out, fans still sit there in shock. Just look at Antoine Walker. This man earned over $108 million in his career. We're talking generational wealth. Yet by 2010, he was filing for bankruptcy. Why? Vegas nights, bad real estate investments, and blowing millions like it was pocket change. Antoine even admitted he'd drop entire bags in casinos the same way regular folks buy lunch. And he's not alone. Charles Barkley didn't hit bankruptcy, but even he confessed to losing close to $30 million gambling. Yes, $30 million. That's a whole NBA contract gone in smoke at the tables. Chuck has been straight up about just how reckless it got for him. Then there's Latrell Sprewell, the man who once turned down a $21 million deal claiming it wasn't enough to feed his family. Fast forward a few years later, and boom, the yacht, the mansion, everything gone, and now the scary part. Fans are already saying Marcus Morris might be lining up to be the next cautionary tale. He had the fame, the contracts, the lifestyle, but when you stack casino debt, IRS whispers, and no NBA checks coming in, the future starts looking shaky real fast. People are asking out loud how long before he's forced to sell off those chains, those cars, maybe even the houses, because history shows once the cracks start showing, the fall usually comes quick. What really sends this whole Marcus Morris saga into overdrive is the way people are starting to pick apart his personal life, because money trouble never stays just about the money. Spotlight shifts, it drags in family, relationships, even locker room vibes, and Marcus is no exception. Fans online already noticed that small but loud detail during his arrest. He handed his jewelry to his twin brother Markieff, not to his partner or the mother of his kids. That one move sparked endless debates about what's really happening behind closed doors. Some people claim it was just brotherly trust, but others are whispering maybe things at home aren't as picture perfect as Marcus wanted everyone to believe. And when money starts drying up, relationships often crack right along with the bank account. Just ask the long list of ex-athletes who ended up losing not just their fortunes, but their families too. People are already digging through old clips, pointing out how Marcus was always showing off cars, chains, and Vegas trips, but rarely posting family moments. In today's world, that silence speaks volumes, and the gossip has been ruthless. Imagine being known as the guy who made nearly $100 million, but the biggest viral moment attached to your name is you being wheeled through an airport in shackles while strangers record on their phones. That's humiliation money can't buy back. And it's not just fans piling on, blogs, podcasts, and channels all over are chewing on the story, each adding their own twist, painting Marcus as everything from a reckless gambler to a man hiding even bigger secrets. And here's where it gets messier. Marcus isn't just any ex-NBA player fading into the background. He's part of a twin duo that's been in the league spotlight for years. People love comparing him to Markieff, saying one brother is holding steady while the other is spiraling out. That family comparison alone puts even more heat on Marcus. Because if Markieff is still moving clean, how come Marcus can't? The whispers turn into accusations, with fans throwing around ideas like entourage spending, bad investments, or even fake flexing for the gram. Once the internet decides you're broke, every move gets dissected, every chain, every vacation pic, even what car you pull up in. If it doesn't scream millions, people will drag you for faking it. And let's not forget, the NBA world is tiny and locker room stories travel fast. Some players are already hinting that Marcus's gambling habits weren't exactly a secret, that plenty of teammates knew he was burning through cash like crazy. And when those stories start leaking, it becomes open season for the media. Every rumor, every exaggerated tale, it all feeds the narrative that Marcus Morris is on the same tragic path as Antoine Walker or Latrell Sprewell. Fans aren't just asking if he's broke, they're asking what's coming next. Will it be tax liens, lawsuits, maybe even him selling off assets just to stay afloat? Nobody knows for sure, but the vibe online is brutal. People are watching every move, waiting for the next shoe to drop. And the saddest part? Marcus is learning the hard way that once you fall from that NBA pedestal, the world doesn't give you sympathy. It gives you side eyes, memes, and receipts. And who could ever forget Allen Iverson, AI himself, pulling in over $200 million during his career, only to watch it nearly all slip away? Entourages, lawsuits, reckless spending, you name it. The only thing that kept him from hitting complete rock bottom was Reebok stepping in with that lifetime trust waiting in the wings. Then you got Delonte West, whose downfall cut even deeper, battling addiction, losing everything, and ending up on the streets. That heartbreaking clip of him struggling in public still haunts fans to this day. And the list doesn't stop there. Sean Kemp stacked up millions but ended up drowning in child support debt. Derek Coleman filed for bankruptcy in 2010, proving even big men can go broke fast. Kenny Anderson himself admitted he blew through a jaw-dropping $60 million on cars, women, and child support. just gone like dust in the wind. The stories pile up like a cautionary book of NBA nightmares, and Marcus Morris is now looking like the next chapter. Because here's the hard truth, NBA money doesn't last forever. In fact, it can vanish faster than fans realize. That's why Marcus's saga doesn't sound far-fetched at all. He made over $90 million, lived the flashy life, and now he's the one being dragged through an airport in shackles over casino debt. To the outside world, it looks like deja vu, a star player caught in the same cycle, falling into the same trap. And the scariest part, for too many athletes, the fall doesn't stop with debt. It gets deeper, uglier, and way more public until their whole legacy gets tied to financial collapse instead of their game. So here we are.
Let me see. Come on. Hold on, my straight. You just pushed back, right? He pushed back. I slid back.
Marcus Morris's story isn't just about one bad check or a few wild nights in Vegas. It's the classic NBA downfall blueprint playing out all over again. A man who once had nearly $100 million at his fingertips now being remembered more for airport shackles than game-winning shots. And if history tells us anything, this ride could get even rougher from here. Because once the IRS, lawyers, and creditors start circling, it's not just about losing money, it's about losing reputation, relationships, and sometimes even sanity. Fans are already calling Marcus the next cautionary tale, and unless he finds a way to turn things around fast, his legacy might get stamped with the same tragic ending we've seen too many times before. So before you dip, make sure you smash that like button if you're riding with us, tap subscribe if you're a real one, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single messy update. Trust me, you're gonna want to be here for the next video.